Okay. Good morning. We're going to call to order our Public Safety Committee meeting for Tuesday, March 15th. We'll call to order and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Start with you, Susie.
Susie Bahan.
Jim Nickel?
Don Thomas.
Heidi Youngworth.
Dan Allers.
Randy Peniagua.
All right. We'll do the approval of the minutes from February 8th. Do I have anybody?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
Okay, Susie seconds. Public comment? No one's here today, this morning. I think everybody's a little busy on the beach. Lee County Sheriff and FMB Fire update. I got a call from the sheriff this morning. Benora, they are very busy with spring breakers and asked to be excused for today. And I'm guessing the fire department is in the same boat as things are very congested on the island. Next one is Town Council Code Blue update. I think we're going to take that off. I thought we were,
Yes.
because we weren't going to do anything with it.
Okay.
And we're waiting for them to get the
Awesome.
advertising, to decide if they're going to get additional dollars to fund it for Code Blue. Aren't I right?
We haven't, we had just talked about doing the advertising and putting up the, the bus shelters and stuff like that, but it's on one of my to-do lists to find out where that's at.
Okay, I'll leave it on there and we'll just see. This might be a short meeting unless we get a look. Bicycle lights, bells, and whistles, all the good stuff. So the distribution plan, I went to town council on March 7th and discussed with them some of the things that we had been talking about with the bells and whistles and how we've been, we obviously gave them out at Halloween. I've emailed the school and the principal to see if we could come up with something with the students and have an event maybe at the end of the year as they get ready for summer. We could look at, if she approves, I was going to come back and see if we would agree to do all the students, I think there's 50 total, and do a bike type of day where we maybe get Lee County Sheriff in, do bike safety, hand out the bells and whistles to the students, and then if their families would like to buy additional ones, we could have ones on hand for $4. I have not heard back from her, and I know they're starting spring break as well, so didn't know if anybody had a comment on that.
I had a question for Councilman Allers. Council passed the ordinance that requires people who rent bikes on the island to put lights and bells on the bikes. Is that correct?
Correct.
When does that take effect? Because I'm noticing the bikes that are being rented now are not so equipped.
It went into effect, I believe, right away, as soon as the ordinance was passed.
Okay, is there an enforcement mechanism in the town in order to check and see if the bikes that are currently being rented out by some of the companies comply?
I will have to check with them. I don't know that there's anything in place as far as they go out to the businesses and inspect the bikes, but I could check on that.
If you would, because it could be it happened so quick, it's the middle of season, and they were unable to, get it accomplished before they were renting out these bikes. But I noticed at least a couple around our complex that were rentals, and they didn't have lights, and some did, but some didn't. So I thought, I thought that got passed and would happen pretty quickly.
Okay, I will follow up with you on it.
Okay, thanks.
I also, at town council, I brought up, we were talking about rental units. For example, like Heidi, some of your places may have bikes. And I didn't know if there was a way we could contact rental owners to say, we are encouraging you, because it's a law, to have bells and lights on your bikes in your homes that you're using for Airbnb or your vacation rental. They're at a discount. Most of them only have 2 bikes maybe on hand. It wouldn't be a big expense. I know that I would assume we have all the list of every renter every rental company or someone, they have to apply through town to be able to rent their home, that we could send a mailer or an email if we have their email addresses, that we could say we're doing this, and They could pick them up at town hall, or we could do a drop-off, or not a drop-off at their home, but maybe it's one weekend. Just coming up, thinking outside the box where we can get the renters, the rental properties to also put them on their bikes.
Right, you have individual renters and then you have companies that are doing
Right.
bookings, and I think might have pretty good luck with the companies. Like if you went to Tri-Power or some of the
That's what I
others.
was thinking.
Yeah, they might reach out to the people that they're representing and tell them if they're gonna have a bike
Yeah.
available for their people, they have to have them so equipped.
Right.
I can get together with the short-term rental coordinator and try to see if we can get that information. And then, like you said, speaking with property management and see if they have access to those contacts as well.
Awesome. Also regarding, well, that's on, I guess, bike lanes and markings. I'm gonna kind of jump around a little bit. I did hear back from, Rob Phelan from the city. He returned my email, and he said that they will be conducting a study, and he said soon. I think I forwarded it to everyone, the email. I forwarded it to Randy to forward on. And he said that they will be conducting a study to check the bike lanes, the markings, as well as crosswalks, and to see what the interaction is with all the bikes and the traffic, to see if there's some things we can do with painting or something to call out bike lanes. Because that was another thing that was brought up at town council, that we don't really have, is it a law, I should say, or a rule that you go with the flow of traffic? And that was one of the debates. Some people say, no, you're supposed to go against traffic, and everybody says, no, you're supposed to go with traffic. And on the sidewalk, you have everybody going both ways. And I didn't know if we could put markings on the sidewalks to say bikes, face it that way, especially in the congested areas. It's really not so bad once you get past Red Coconut, because obviously you have the bike lanes in the street, but anywhere on the sidewalk, I think we need to do some additional,
I think you're supposed to go with the flow of traffic.
I think you are,
with a bike,
right.
but you're supposed to walk against it.
Right.
Well, I can tell you when Rob was at one of the council meetings, I asked him specifically about the lane or the markings on the sidewalk, and at that time, he said that it wasn't a very good idea because of ADA stuff with the way that the sidewalks go up and down at the driveways. It could cause an issue with someone potentially tipping over. So to me, it had seemed like it wasn't gonna be something that happened, but since then, it sounds like you have spoken to him and maybe they've had a change of heart, but
I don't know if they have a change of heart, but he said that they would be coming, they're bringing a group, they're gonna do a study to check it, to see how the traffic is and what they see. We see the bikes as they come up on people with a congested sidewalk, veer out into traffic and then come back on. And I said, there's gotta be a way that we can make some kind of call out that they follow that traffic pattern. And he said, well, he emailed back, said they would do it. So I'll keep up on him and hopefully we'll get some results or some findings in the next couple of months. And I'm hoping he comes now, between March and April, when it's as crazy as it is right now.
well, I can tell you, I've also been working on it behind the scenes with the town manager and the county as far as the bike markings and sidewalk markings and it's a very slow process, as you're probably finding out. But I'm glad that there's a kind of a two-headed monster that's putting the pressure on, because it's pretty dangerous out there, as I think we all know, and it may not save everything, but it'll definitely help. But they have to go through a process with FDOT. There's a certain guideline they have to go by, as the way it's kind of been. So they're doing the research and they're doing their data search, and at some point we'll get an answer. But I think if we just keep squeaking that wheel, that we can get them there sooner than later.
Anything else? Does anybody else want to bring anything up about bikes? I have other things about crosswalks, but it's different.
I don't know,
I'm just saying, if you move the people over walking against the traffic, then they'll be opposite of the bikes over there, and they can see the bikes.
True, but then we have to make sure we announce that to people so they know. That's why one of the things he said they wouldn't do is mark the sidewalk to go walkers here, bikers here. So what can we do that it's not gonna have all those markings on the sidewalk? I don't know the answer. I don't know.
I don't know, but me personally, I would rather go against traffic, because I can see if somebody's gonna hit me versus somebody hitting me from behind. That's just my,
Yeah, I know.
do you know what I'm saying? Like, if I see a car swerving at me, at least I have the option to try and get out of the way. If somebody's gonna hit me from behind, I have no idea it's coming.
I know. It's so confusing.
But
I think if you're riding in the street or in the bike lane adjacent to the street, I think you're supposed to be going with traffic.
Yeah.
Because you have a red tail light, just like a car does,
Yep.
theoretically. And you could even have a little mirror on your bike to see if there are cars coming up beside you. I think that's probably the experts have determined that's the safest way to go.
Well, I guess we'll wait for Rob, figure out if we get some findings back from them. Hopefully hear back from the school. If we have any other, we'll hear back from the rental coordinator. And if there's anything else that we can think of, they brought up enforcing bike helmets, but,
Yes.
I mean,
Do we want to add that to the event with the,
with the kids,
yeah?
my stomach rumbles. We could, I mean, we don't want to have, provide bike helmets. I think we just do education.
Okay.
So if it's a bike safety event at the school, we would, make sure you wear your helmet and something like that.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna get very many renters who are gonna have helmets, and I just don't think it's gonna happen. But we can encourage,
Right.
bikes, that's all
We
we can
can
do,
encourage
encourage
it,
bike
but-
safety. I'll bring that up the next one. Okay, next one is the public safety webpage and education. Jenny has been updating things for us as we come along. She's been sending out, I don't know if you're following Twitter, and she's been doing email blasts. She's been adding stuff to the safety page, and we're gonna continue to enhance it. So as things come along, we'll just keep adding to it. So that's a good progress, and you just want, hopefully it gets in front of people who are visiting, not just the people who live here. MPO meeting. Well, I was not able to make that last meeting. I apologize. I was supposed to, and with traffic and everything, I couldn't get off the island. So I missed the last one. I couldn't get there in time. So I do not have an update. My bad. And I don't know who has the next one,
Next one is April 19th.
and who said they were gonna take that one.
It's in our notes.
I know it is in our notes.
I believe I'm May, that much I remember.
For the public safety webpage, do you want to add the lighting, how to report a light outage?
I want to bring that up when we talk about member items, but
Okay.
definitely, I know she put an email out on that
Okay.
to the people, but yes, we do want to add that. I put that on, that's my notes to talk about.
Doesn't say.
Yeah, I don't remember who said they would go.
Oh, here. We have nobody for April. I said I could do May.
I have some information regarding that. The next in-person MPO board meeting is March 18th at 9 a.m. We talked about this the last meeting.
Right,
I can't go to them always.
right, we said we were gonna all take turns. I was gonna go last time, and I couldn't get off island, and I called,
I know.
I'm like, I can't get there in time.
Right. I can forward this to everyone, or to Dawn.
Why don't you forward it to Randy, and he can forward it to all of us, and then we'll see if somebody will take a turn. I can't make the 18th.
Okay.
I know I can't either.
No. I can't do anything until May. Sorry.
We might just not have representation.
I get it.
It's kind of crazy right now,
This
so,
is just a challenging time for
Yeah.
people that have their fingers in a lot of places.
exactly.
I'm not sure if the MPO meetings are streamed, but that's all an option as well.
I tried to find it when I couldn't attend,
Mm-hmm.
and I found the agenda, and it really had nothing to do with anything that would affect us. It was almost like I-75 data, they were talking about that. But I couldn't find where I could stream it. I mean, we can look, I can reach out to, I don't know if you have a contact there. If we have a contact, we can ask.
Okay, I'll ask them.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, because
Yeah.
at least if somebody can maybe, we can watch it
Yeah.
another time if we can't get there on, nobody can.
You know, that's the sad thing, is we can get there maybe, but if you have something, anything, at noon, it's gonna take you 2 hours to get home. So that's, we
I'm
run
gonna
into that
send this
problem.
one Too, not to interrupt, but there is a meeting tonight at 5. It has to do with the federal certification review regarding Federal Highway Administration. I'll send it to Randy.
again,
affects
not
us.
real applicable.
Yeah, the MPO has a lot of meetings and different subcommittees as well, so that could be what she's alluding
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, member items. We'll get to the heart of everything else.
I have a member item.
Okay.
So the light at the intersection of Old San Carlos and, I guess it's Fifth Street that turns into Estero, is that correct? So it's not super effective just because people completely disregard the whole stop, walk thing. We had discussed in a prior meeting about getting some additional signage or lighting or something. I have personally seen 3 or 4 people almost get hit by cars because they're walking whenever they want to walk. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough to be alarming, and I'm just waiting for somebody to get hit. Injured, hospitalized, worst case, killed. We had discussed that. I don't remember where we were gonna go with that. I think something about, we were gonna discuss with, the county about adding maybe some visual large signs that said, I did notice a couple of times in February that there was, the voice officers standing there, and they were helping, like, don't walk, stop,
Yeah, that's what it's gonna take.
Right, but we gotta do something.
I emailed FDOT when it first went in because I saw the same thing. I also noticed that the lights were syncing so odd. No one, you couldn't make it through the light. It took like 3 times to get through a green light, and you might be 2 cars back.
I think they've corrected that.
Yeah, and he said they kept working on it. But I have the email of the gentleman. I say I can email him again and copy everyone and say, we encourage you to come down. People are not stopping, and then we need to talk to Lee County Sheriff and say, we have to train these people. They're not just walking there, they're walking everywhere. I mean, I saw a group at the base of the bridge, 2 of them just walked right across the base of the bridge, and the people who were turning onto San Carlos were looking at San Carlos, and the girl walked him right in front of the car and he missed her by inches. And people are honking and, and everything, and cars are slamming their brakes on because no one's paying attention because they're going off island. It's getting, I don't know how we can tell these people, please cross at the crosswalks.
Right.
For your safety, please cross at the crosswalks. Drivers are not
isn't
paying
there-
attention.
Can beach patrol help during season in this regard? Is that outside the scope of, would that be outside this, I mean, it's really, there'd be just informational, just not dissimilar from the voice officers would be. At least while this is new. I guess I don't know what their, I don't know what their manpower is. I don't know if that would be possible to have someone hang out up there and try to,
Well, on that note, Jim, I know we talked about this before, but I think, like, if we add signage or if we add voice officers and they're still doing it, we need to start ticketing people, because when they start getting hit in their wallet, maybe they'll pass the word around.
yes.
Exactly.
I do agree with that.
Enforcement, anytime you change patterns,
Right,
you have a period of time to let people get used to it, but without some sort of enforcement mechanism, they won't change.
yeah, because there's nobody standing there. There's no one to police them right now, so they just do what they want.
Well, that's what I thought, maybe the beach patrol guy, he doesn't have to do anything but be there and be seen. People might be reluctant to just walk against the light or walk into the middle of the intersection if there's somebody there from beach
Well,
patrol.
the days
They
that
can
those
say, hey,
officers
should
were
walk
there,
with the light.
people were following the rules.
The voice officer was there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they were.
Yes, they were.
I think beach patrol can do that when they can, but generally they're spread out throughout the island, going to the beach access, making sure that there's actual enforcement going on with that.
Sure.
As far as what the town can do, we can communicate with the sheriff's office and see if they can have manpower there, since we do pay for the extra duty traffic control.
Yeah, I think the problem is gonna primarily be confined to season. We're gonna really see a lot of it. And then it's gonna diminish probably as the crowd diminishes. I think you'll see people more likely to follow the rules. I don't know if additional signage would work or not. It might.
I mean, I think it comes down to common sense of the person. Why are you walking?
I
Yeah,
still
but you
think, I'm
can't.
sorry, and I already
There's,
complained about the railings. On the south end, they have those silver railings that are on the sidewalk that they kind of protect the little ditches. They look great. And I do not know why we don't put a few up on the north end in some of these key areas to, very few people, if they're gonna jump over it, okay, then you have a lot of energy and that's, it'll take time, but a lot of people will not. They'll follow it and go to where they can go out.
I can tell you at the discussion with FDOT about the base of the bridge, that was one of the main things I think that everyone came out to give their opinion on, was finding a way to prevent exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
How do you put up some sort of barrier to keep people from, you're gonna get the people that are still gonna jump it and cross it no matter what. But something that we can do to prohibit the not crossing at the crosswalk. I think they heard that message loud and clear. Whether or not they choose to do something about it is out of our control, but I think the more we keep stressing that, your points have been heard and they've been passed up to, I know several of you were there and spoke about the same issues. So, as long as we keep telling them that's a priority, hopefully they'll listen.
Is there any place down near this particular light that those kinds of barriers would be effective?
I don't think it would work there.
I know that, Rob had said from
Lee County?
Lee County, had said the reason is because there's so many driveways in that area that it wouldn't pay for them to put them up. That's what, how long ago? Because we had asked about them in the meeting, and he said there's too many driveways, it doesn't make sense.
I hear him down there around.
Like from-
Around Lanakai. and
Yeah,
that area.
we wanted, something put there, and he's like, there's too many driveways.
Right, they'll just walk,
They're just gonna walk to the driveway, and-
driveway to driveway.
like they're doing now, so it doesn't, it's basically a waste.
Right, I hear him.
I think it comes down to a matter of resources, whether it's Lee County or it's the town, beach patrol, you have to have the people to be able to do it. And that all takes money, and something tells me that in our upcoming budget discussions, that is probably gonna be an issue that's brought up as far as needing more people to be able to handle the influx we've seen over the last year and a half of people that have come to the island. I think we've all seen that season is been extended. It almost doesn't die, and we'll see if that happens this year, but it's something that definitely has to be addressed, especially in that area from St., I don't know, Hooters or whatever, to the base of the bridge. It seems to be where all the backups happen along those couple, 3, 4 crosswalks there. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think having some people there to be able to work together to get that flow moving, stop everybody at one time, just like they do at the base of the bridge. They stop you to allow you to come across. I don't know if that's the answer, and I know it was tried at a couple of the crosswalks a year or two ago, and it seemed to go very good when they had someone in front of the crosswalk at Lanikai, Taco there. It seemed to work pretty well, but we kind of went away from it, so it's on one of my things to bring up to see if we can get that in the budget to be able to do that, especially during season, to help that flow. And maybe that'll be an answer to your question as far as enforcement. I mean, if people see someone out there with authority that can do something about crossing wherever you want to cross, to your point, when it starts affecting your pocketbook, it changes your mentality.
And maybe that the parking lot attendants there can say, you need to go down here to cross, or, I don't know.
But to your point, Heidi, it comes down to, you gotta do at some point, it's on you to do what's right.
Exactly.
Does that apply to people on vacation too?
Apparently not.
Well, we've all been on vacation and probably did things we shouldn't have done, just thinking that because you're on your vacation. But, everybody's smart enough to know it's on you to make the right decisions.
Sure.
Well, it's what we're seeing now is there's so many cars here, and if they're new, they don't know that they have to stop for crosswalks. I witnessed it yesterday, and they're barreling down. You've got people using the center lane to scoot traffic illegally, and we don't have enough law enforcement to stop that. Then you've got somebody running in between the cars to try to cross, and it's just a recipe for disaster. So hopefully we can work with Lee County Sheriffs and get some ideas. I can see someone sitting there with the tickets just pre-made and hand them out. That'd be really welcoming to our island, though. Jim, do you have anything? I had a couple things. Dan mentioned during our town council meeting, and my update, that maybe we need to find out, number one, talk about education on how people can tell people, or how people should communicate to FPL and to the city when a light is out. I know that Jenny, the PI, Jenny has already sent out an email blast. I will have her add it to our the web page so people know. I think it should be on the front page of our, the town website. I think it's that imperative when you have lights out, as we are seeing, it's very, we need to address that issue. One of the questions Dad said is maybe we need to find out how long it takes FPL to respond to a burnout light. And 10 days? That you were my person who was gonna answer this question, and either or contact somebody if we know, well, they are guaranteed to have it done within 10 days?
10 days, that's what the guy's got. When it goes on their log, the guy that's gonna work it, he's got 10 days to work that light.
Okay.
What's the timeframe usually from when say the town sends in a request about a light out? What's the timeframe from when they receive that request to when it gets assigned to someone?
I'm not sure of that. That's not that wasn't our department. I mean, it's just, we get out there and people come up to us saying, you know, where you been?
So basically,
It's
once
during
they,
a storm, you pull up and they go, you know, where you been? I said, we've been working our ass off.
So do I need to contact FPL or, and find out, like, get a contact there and ask them?
I can do it.
You can do that? That'd be great. Put that on your plate. And then we'll get some answers, and we can add that to our website as well. My other question is, what about the side streets? That's not, a lot of those are not FPL, they're town.
Okay.
We don't have that on the website at this point of how to turn out, do we, or do we?
Streets are FPL lights.
I thought they told me that not all of them were.
It's my understanding every pole on the island is an FPL pole.
Okay. Then my other question is, how can we add a light on a side street? On certain side streets where it's so dark that they want
Well,
additional
when
lights?
Jim and I were riding around the other night, you know, I just know from working storms that we have contractors in here, they take lights down and don't put them back up.
So, I guess we,
could get I can get a printout of what's supposed to be here,
okay. Let's do that.
and then,
Yeah.
then somebody write them out.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Actually, there was from FPL at our meeting on Thursday, they sent us out an email that showed how many poles are existing on side streets and how many poles are on the boulevard as well, the entire Estero Boulevard, and what is proposed to replace when the lights get replaced on the entire island. So it's a good number to show you. I don't have it with me, or I'd tell you what they were. It's if you give me a minute, I could probably pull it up on my email to show you, or tell you how many poles are currently existing, or how many lights are currently existing, and how many they propose.
I know when we drove around, we got on some side streets, and there were some pretty dark areas. And I could see where citizens would like to have a light maybe in that dark spot, but I don't know what the process is, and I don't know who pays for that.
That's my yeah, I couldn't get that answer.
So they would have petitioned the town, and the town would have to ask FPL to put the light up, because they're gonna be absorbing the expense of maintaining that light and paying for it every month under the contract. I'm presuming that's the case.
I'm sorry, Jim, I missed your question.
If a citizen wanted a light, say in a neighborhood where there was a particularly dark spot, they would have to come to the town would have to approve it, and then have FPL install the light, and then, because the town's gonna have to pay for that light on an ongoing basis, just like we do all the other lights that are FPL lights.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how that works as far as a request. I did at the meeting request to get FPL in to give us an idea as to where we stand on the tariff program, what's in the tariff program, how soon lights that are out there being, and maybe this is Mike, maybe you can answer this. Have you seen an average, or is that not in your wheelhouse as far as when you were with FPL?
Mike,
How long it takes
get a
to?
little closer to the microphone. I'm getting
Yep.
comments that they can't hear you.
Um,
Now you can talk.
So that I don't know, but I got it. I can tell you what the numbers currently are based on what we received from FPL. That says existing, there's 22 existing lights on town-owned Estero Boulevard. So the north end, there's 22 existing. There's 128 lights on the county-owned Estero Boulevard. And there are 271 lights on town-owned side streets. That's what's currently existing. What's proposed is 80 lights on town-owned North Estero Boulevard, 476 lights on county-owned Estero Boulevard, and 1,040 lights on town-owned side streets. So that gives you an idea of what we have and what they're proposing.
They're going from 271 to 1,000?
1,040 to be exact.
Wow.
Which proposal is this?
This came from, I'll tell you at the very top. FPL Utility Program Lighting System Budget Cost Estimate for Estero Boulevard and Fort Myers Beach side streets. And this was from FPL.
So FPL is telling us we probably should have that many lights.
Based on the photometric study, yes, which I'm sure they're gonna have to go out and restudy it and make sure that these numbers are accurate. But it gives you an idea of what's there, what's currently there, and what they're suggesting.
Is that based on a particular light? I notice a lot of the side lights on the side streets with the 3,000 K, which is not probably what we're gonna wanna do in the long run. That's a brighter.
Well, that's, yeah, I mean, the town obviously recommended amber lighting. They do have amber lighting within their tariff program right now. It would require many more lights than say the 3,000, but, so that's part of we want them to come in and give us a cost as to, you know, what is it gonna cost to do one versus the other? How soon will a luminaire that they're looking at now, potentially, if it all be approved, to be used in the tariff program, and that's gonna drive a lot of that as well. So we're trying to get a little bit more information so we can accelerate this lighting, this lighting of Estero Boulevard sooner than later.
Right. Right now, we're pushing for the new amber light that's a little brighter, that wouldn't require so many poles that the existing light would require. Is that correct?
Yes, what they're looking at, not to get too technical, but it's a higher lumen output
Right.
than what is currently there. Rough numbers, I think the current approved amber lighting that is in the tariff program is around 6,000 lumen. The one they're looking at is about 14 or 15,000 lumen, which is obviously much brighter. So you would require, there's a lot of other things that go into it, as Mike probably well knows. It's a beam spread, it's how it's angled, it's how the cutoff is. There's a bunch of things that they have to look at. The weight of it, how big is it, all kinds of things, glare, bug rate, all this other stuff that has to go into it that they have to look at. Availability of parts, all of those things, but that's why I would like FPL here to explain all that, of what the process is to go through, how long it's gonna take.
Right.
You know, we've waited a long time to get this road. Is it gonna take another year, 2 years, 3? What is it gonna take to get something that uniformly will light Estero Boulevard?
Why don't you let me work on these few things that Dawn's assigned to me?
Okay.
Great. All right, we'll bring
See
those
where we're
back.
at.
I will say that generally staff reports lights outage as they're performing their duties, either early in the morning or late at night, and then I get them and I report them along with the Public Works Department and the Community Development Department. But online, under the How Do I tab, there's a report tab, and then light outage, and you have all the directions of how to report the FPL-owned streetlights and then the town-owned streetlights. And the town-owned streetlights tend to be down Old San Carlos, the ones that get
blue
reported as
ones.
well. Yep.
Okay. Well, speaking of lights, I wanted to commend Dan on your commentary at the March 7th meeting, where you talked about lighting and that we needed to get a deadline, and I think it's imperative that it goes to the top of the list of everything that's going on, and I really appreciated that, your discussion points that you brought up in front of everybody. So I can only hope everybody watched all of that, and if you haven't, I encourage you to. But do you have any update, or do you have another special meeting, or are you waiting for FPL to come in, like you were just said, you're waiting for them to come back?
I have not received any update yet. I plan on asking again. I have a weekly meeting with the town manager, so I'm gonna bring it up again and ask if we've got any input from FPL. You know, just because we're asking them to be here doesn't mean that they're gonna show up. You know, we try to get them here, but, if we keep the pressure on, I think from all levels, again, I hate to keep using the same scenario, but the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Right.
Yes.
No, I think it's important, and I appreciated it. I thought it was really
Yes.
good commentary, and, you know, one of the comments I kept thinking is, I know that they're talking about this new light, but FPL is, they're testing it right now, so it's not approved. Is that correct? So we don't, so if that's what happens, you know, you have to have a backup. If it's not approved, then what do we do?
And I think that's what I was trying to get at.
Right.
Is what's the comfortability level of how long it's gonna take to wait? How long I mean, it's been 6 years, how long do we wanna wait to get to a point where the Estero Boulevard is uniformly lit? However, whatever color it is,
Right.
is kind of there has to be a decision made on that, one way or another. What's it gonna cost and how long is it gonna take to affect that cost? How long are we willing to wait?
Well, I appreciated it, and I look forward to hearing the next meeting or update on that. I don't have anything else from me.
I don't have anything.
No,
Dan, do you have anything extra?
No, I think it's all been covered. The thing that I was gonna bring up, has already been brought up, is there was some discussion about everybody taking a section of the island to, report outages on the poles. I don't know if that is still something that you're willing to do, or,
we did that.
We did our section.
did your section,
yeah,
okay.
about 2 weeks ago. a week ago.
Albatross. all
We
the
did
way to the
Albatross
bridge.
South.
I did the north end.
I've been trying to
Didn't I have
cover
north end? And I
anything
didn't
I
see,
see.
there was nothing out that, when I went on the night. I need to do some of the side streets. I have a hard time, and I'll be honest, I can't tell if there was a light there or wasn't a light there on these poles. Because some of them, it's completely dark, and I
I
can't,
had a big flashlight, so when I came up in a dark area, I would hit the pole, and if there was, because you could find
Yeah.
we only found one that was out, but that's how you found it, is with flashlight.
okay. I'll do the side streets then,
I'm sure the people behind me thought I was crazy,
or a robber.
or a robber.
We'll get that, we'll have those done. I'll go out again, there was nothing out when I went out.
I'll do my section.
Okay.
Mid-Island.
I think that's it.
And if it's an FPL lighting, you can jot down your email and then check the status of that ticket as well.
Okay.
And
I've
like
done that
Mike
before.
said, it takes up to 10 days generally for them to process a
Yeah.
request.
And you got the one I sent in to you, right?
Hmm. Yep.
That was the only one we found.
Mike, do they put any priority on lights that are on a crosswalk? Or is it just the 10 days is 10 days?
Well, you can tell them it's on a crosswalk, they can, and you can kind of push them on it, but I'll find out the particulars on this.
That'd be good. I think that's another thing, Rob Phelan was gonna look at crosswalks. We talked about finding a way to call them out without having all the flashing lights. Maybe it's the reflectors in the ground, on the street.
Yeah, I've seen several of them that the crosswalks, that goes to white, green, whatever. And you could see them from a long ways away, even at night when you're coming out. So, but again, the answer you get is we have to look at the green book, we have to see what FDOT requires, and it can't be every crosswalk. And so there's a lot of things that they have to look at to go into making the decisions if it's viable or not. But I can tell you, my personal opinion, the more people that keep getting hurt, the faster that decision is gonna be made.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
All right.
Trying to think if there was anything else.
I don't have anything
I think
else.
that's it. I think that's it. Short meeting today.
Next meeting is April 19th. Tuesday, April 19th.
Alrighty.
All right. so-
Call to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion?
Second.
We're adjourned.